Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for Friday's Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting tonight's show. Up first, the river breakup map, all open here across the central and southern interior areas. The Noatak River, still some open through there. And then the Colville and Sagwan rivers, anywhere from unknown to some open with still some areas of mostly ice along those. Otherwise, fire danger, got some high fire danger here, Copper River Basin, and up on the north side of the far eastern Alaska Range there, Tok and Northway in those areas, kind of dry again, sunshine today over there, and that should continue into tomorrow with the satellite imagery from yesterday showing kind of a big upper level trough right up here centered over the northwest interior or just off the coast over the Chukchi Sea. Pretty cold air mass aloft associated with that, with very low snow levels here and a lot of convective showers rolling across southern central interior. A little bit of a frontal boundary right through here over Yakutat, and then areas of clouds, light snow again on the Arctic coast, and a lot of clouds right down into the Bering Sea with another band there right off the coast. Moving to today, you can see yet another band right through here. The upper level low, the cold upper low, centered right near the Bering Strait, and a trough extending southeastward from there along the coast. Roughly this area of clouds in advance of the trough axis there, with enhanced showers of rain and snow across the deltas back up across the Seward Peninsula, and rainfall amounts anywhere from a third of an inch falling at Sparivon to about 1,500 at Bethel. Those are 24-hour amounts ending at 4 p.m. this afternoon, with lots of clouds here, moisture spreading back up in across south central Alaska. So cloudy skies, areas of rain back down across Kodiak Island, but you can see the eastern interior, a few breaks from partly sunny to mostly sunny there over the Copper River Basin, and looks like even more sunshine down across the southeast coast today with high pressure up over the eastern Gulf of Alaska and northeast Pacific ahead of this system, and that southerly flow around the on the western side of the high, funneling that moisture right on up to the north. And then we've got some breaks back out to the west here. St. Paul still in the clouds there with some a little bit of a showery condition extending back up to St. Lawrence Island, but breaking out down toward the eastern Aleutians and even a portion of the Alaska Peninsula, but a few more breaks up over Bristol Bay. Not a bad day here across all of the Aleutian chain. Winds generally on the light side, dry conditions with partly to maybe mostly sunny skies, although that was reserved mostly for Nikolsky over to Unalaska and Dutch Harbor. And rolling that along again, you can see most of this cloudiness with the rainfall to the south, staying to the south and slipping off to the east-southeast, and the flow there with the cold upper low over this, again up over the northwest interior, keeping northwest flow and chilly temperatures in across the eastern Bering Sea, the northwest interior, and low snowfall levels right in across much of interior Alaska, a little bit higher here as you get over toward Canada. And for the chart today, again with the clouds, we had showers scattered around from the North Gulf Coast in across south central Alaska, a little more rain pattern here, more general rainfall farther to the south, spreading up across Kodiak Island, more enhanced showers there mostly from the Aleutian Range westward across the mountains there to the Kilbrook Range, and periods of rain along the Alaska Peninsula, upper level trough axis right through here, a little bit drier with more northwest flow behind that, and then the main lift area in advance of the trough axis there, again resulting in showers here, and rainfall amounts, again, last 24 hours ranging from anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to up to 1/3 of an inch across pretty much the entire area there, with lighter amounts onto the east and up to the north there. Colder temperatures kept precipitation mostly in the form of snow from the central Arctic coast on back into the Chukchi Sea, but amounts on the light side, mixed conditions here, Yukon Delta up to the Bering Strait and whatever fell over the Seward Peninsula. Otherwise, we've got lots of clear skies down across the southeast coast, and again up into the interior here, picking up a few clouds there, from say Eagle or the just south of Eagle onto the north, but even the eastern Arctic coast there breaking out with some clearing up there, VFR conditions for a change, but areas of light snow from the central coast there, and really just scattered and isolated on back to the southwest. Well, for tonight, this whole moisture area will continue to spread northeastward here, with that high holding over the eastern Gulf of Alaska right off the southeast coast. That'll probably result in some areas of low clouds, or it could be pretty extensive right along the coastline there, to a lesser extent over the inside waters, but definitely dry, light winds tonight through tomorrow. But rainfall chances increase here as moisture south to north flow here. So especially toward morning, look for a general rain pattern to develop for the southern Kenai Peninsula, Seward, eventually on up into the western Prince William Sound area, Portage over to Whittier, and too much downslope, so don't look for a lot from, say, the Cook Inlet area from Anchor Point northward to Palmer. Same thing for the Matanuska Valley, Susitna Valley. Don't look for a lot of precipitation, just some scattered showers along the Alaska Range tonight. Mostly dry with some clearing up over the central interior northward. Possible flurries again along the eastern Beaufort Sea coastline, and also maybe some clearing back to the west. And then with that upper trough, the cold upper low here, still along the coast, another trough axis here right along the coastline from the Bering Strait. So scattered to maybe a little bit more than scattered, rain and snow showers with still the low snowfall levels out here to the west. And that extends out even to this area high pressure, but this moisture pattern here pretty darn light and not so convective, maybe just drizzle or maybe some fog, but this will be pretty light with high pressure just south of the Pribilof Islands. That pulling in some milder west-southwest winds around that, and then more rain here making the scene out west from Shimei and Attu, but mostly slipping off to the southeast. They're just barely catching Amchitka. So Adak and Atka looking really good tonight with light winds eastward to the Fox Islands. Even the Alaska Peninsula, light winds through tonight. That'll hold through tomorrow as well. Just a chance of showers here in the green shaded areas for the Alaska Peninsula. Still have that low south of Kodiak Island. Southeast wind flow keeping it wet. In fact, even wetter tomorrow than obviously it was today, with the moisture increasing later tonight. But periods of rain, Seward, Resurrection Bay, possibly Seldovia, on up in across Prince William Sound. Heaviest amounts again with this flow will be on the western side there, especially around Whittier, where they picked up about 2/3 of an inch in the last 24 hours. But Cook Inlet, again, in the dry zone there at the southeast flow. Nothing more than sprinkles, looks at this point in time, but mostly cloudy skies. Again, pretty sparse on the range from Anchor Point northward to Turnagain Arm, Palmer, and into the Matanuska Valley. Maybe a little bit better chance on the western Susitna Valley as you head over toward the Alaska Range. Showers possible here, a chance of in the green shaded area on out to the west. Mixed conditions, but a little bit less of that now than what we saw today. And then, of course, Brooks Range, depending on your elevation and time of day. And in that same pattern also along the Arctic coast there. But look for, again, some clearing possibly on the eastern north slope on over to about, say, New Wixit. Eastward, could see some sunshine. Probably some IFR here over the northern Bering Sea. Rain and snow showers possible. Otherwise, areas of fog with clearing there from the Pribilofs on down. Another nice day for the Fox Islands with light winds. More of a southeast wind going on now for the central Aleutians, with that front edging eastward there. Also an increase in the chance of rain. Pretty wet on out towards Shimei and Attu. Southeast coast staying mostly sunny over the inside water, especially down to the south. Maybe a few more clouds, but nothing all that serious. Definitely dry, rain-free across the entire stretch of the area there. Picking up a few afternoon showers. Just a risk of an isolated thunderstorm here in whatever develops there in the taller clouds. But Tanana Valley, for the most part, in the White Mountains, pretty dry with partly sunny skies. And the outlook for Sunday, we've got that front still with the wind flow basically south to north, really not making much eastward progress, especially with this high center building up right off the southeast coast, or actually just south of about Yakutat there, or west of Elfin Cove. So that's going to keep the southeast coast in a mostly sunny or partly in a mostly sunny pattern there with light winds right through Sunday and probably Monday as well, with the rain area here looks even wetter for south central Alaska. Rain possibly heavy at times, Resurrection Bay up to Seward and on up around into western Prince William Sound over to about Portage. It looks like a little bit better chance of rain now for even the downslope areas of south central Alaska, although still a fairly decent gradient across the mountains there, but with the upper level low pulling in so close, and that's responsible for these moderate showers that will be taking place along the Alaska range. And of course, probably above about 2,500 feet, that'll be in the form of snow all the way up over to maybe Windy Pass. Tanana Valley dry, partly to mostly sunny into the Yukon Flats, back to the southwest here, right out to the coastline, could see some clearing, then back into some scattered showers up over the north and northwest interior, on out to the Arctic coast. Weak high pressure over the Bering Sea, light wind conditions, so considerable low clouds and fog there associated with that, anywhere from the Bering Strait. Actually, the Chukchi Sea could see some areas of fog on down into the northern Bering, possibly even the Pribilofs as well, but looking pretty dry here, especially off the coast. Some clearing for the Alaska Peninsula, maybe some sun for the Pribilofs, and the Fox Islands once again. A couple of good days coming up with that southeast wind on the increase. And right now, it didn't look like there's a whole lot of moisture associated with the northern edge of that gradient, with it staying mostly to the south there along the frontal boundary, and then a trough extending northwestward from the main low center that's still off the chart there. That'll bring a chance of showers, kind of a wind shift along that from north-northeast here west of the trough axis to mostly easterly. And you can see it looks like mostly easterly winds, 20 to 25 knots through the central Aleutians on into the Unalaska Island area. Temperatures across the southeast coast, not too bad, give or take there. 48 at Elfin Cove, a little on the chilly side, 10 degrees warmer down at Klawock, with a 53-degree reading at Sitka. Skagway up to 56, as well as Wrangell, 52 Yakutat, mid to upper 40s for the North Gulf Coast there. Cool 45 degrees at Cordova, and mid 40s to lower 50s across south central Alaska, with 50 even at Homer. A cool 46 down at Kodiak, and a 51-degree reading up at Palmer. Talkeetna just 50 degrees, 53 over at Gulkana, and upper 40s to near 50 there over the Tanana Valley. Fairbanks checking in with 50, 51 at Tanana, and then farther to the north, Fort Yukon. A little bit of sun, not that much though, but 53 degrees for the afternoon temperature, 46 Arctic Village, and lower 30s here along the coast, with upper 30s as well over toward Kaktovik. Atasuk 39 degrees, mid 30s back here to the west. Still again that upper low and the cold air mass out here over the northwest, so just edging above freezing at Savunga and Gamble, with mid to upper 30s for the Seward Peninsula. Just 39 degrees there at St. Michael this afternoon, with lower to mid 40s. Very chilly May afternoon here across the southwest interior. And on out to the west, lower 40s for the Pribilofs, and mostly in the all in the 40s for the Aleutians, with Unalaska just at 43 degrees. And lower to mid 40s here for the Alaska Peninsula. Even King Salmon struggling to reach 50 degrees. Lows for tonight, upper 30s to upper 40s here across all of the southeast coast, and mostly in the 30s, North Gulf Coast, south central Alaska, to maybe a shade below freezing across the colder areas of the Copper River Basin, but Cook Inlet, lower 40s down to Kodiak Island. 30s here, lower to mid over the central interior, all the way out to the southwest coast, and you fall back into the upper 20s, mid to upper 20s from the Brooks Range on out to the Arctic coast, 30s out west. Highs tomorrow, just the cool lower to mid 40s here for the Pribilofs and the Aleutians, but warming back up anywhere from 55 to 62 or 3 through the interior, depending on how much sun you see. And the warm spot tomorrow, southeast coast, especially the southern areas there, 65, maybe 66 or 67 in some areas. Definitely rain-free. Cooler here along the west coast, upper 30s, all the way up to the Arctic coast. And for flying weather tomorrow, IFR central and east side of the Beaufort Sea coastline there, a little ways inland. Not too bad out to the west with IFR from the Bering Strait southward to just north of the Pribilof Islands. Areas of marginal VFR, Gulf of Alaska, up along the North Gulf Coast and along the eastern slopes of the Alaska Range all the way over to just the south side of Windy Pass, a break, and then with the next front, more IFR way out to the west. For tomorrow afternoon, that edges eastward here to just grab AKwx by afternoon into the IFR, but marginal from Atka, scattering out for the Alaska Peninsula. Areas of marginal VFR, the entire Bering Sea, increasing IFR now with that increase in the moisture, southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula. That'll probably spread up into western Prince William Sound there for Portage Pass tomorrow afternoon. VFR in the interior, and just some isolated marginal stuff on the south coast of the Panhandle. Anaktuvuk, VFR becoming marginal with some moisture slipping northward and developing clouds in the afternoon. Same forecast for Adigan. Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR conditions, but as the day rolls on, VFR developing on those eastern approaches of both of those passes, but rainy too far to the north, so VFR either side through the entire day. Windy looking good, VFR. Isabel, same forecast. Mentasta, good VFR day, as well as Tanita. Portage, though, marginal becoming IFR later in the afternoon, definitely by evening. And for Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels, again, cold upper trough centered out here with a trough extending southeastward. So we've got 2,000 feet to and well beyond the Alaska Peninsula, a cold pocket here along the North Gulf Coast into the southern interior, and really not much warmer up to the north, but more of a gradient. Got 10,000 feet here right into Dixon Entrance. And then definitely a northwest wind flow with this thermal pattern out to the west. And for the icing threats, areas of above about 5,000 feet on the increase as that next boundary of moisture comes eastward there, but staying west of AKwx, maybe slipping eastward to them tomorrow afternoon. Another stretch of some mixed icing here, maybe above about 3,000 feet, areas of possible. And then definitely on the North Gulf Coast here, maybe some moderate rime, a little bit more widespread than what I've got shown here coming in, but definitely a light to isolated moderate from south to north, increasing throughout the day. Jet stream, southwest flow, 70 knots into the Panhandle, otherwise well to the south. Cold upper lows here right along the southwest coast up to the main low center with the Chukchi Sea, 9,000 feet. Southeasterlies to east-southeast, maybe 25 to 30 knots up along the North Gulf Coast. Cutting in across Lake Iliamna, lighter to the north, light for the Panhandle, southeast 20 to 30 there in advance of that trough. 3,000 feet, same pattern out there, lighter, more variable here with this trough axis. Weak high pressure over St. Lawrence Island. Light wind flow from mostly the southeast, strongest maybe up to 30 knots, and that area extending along the North Gulf Coast there. Kind of a barrier jet kind of thing going on with high pressure over the Panhandle for light variable winds. And for turbulence, maybe some light to isolated moderate here from Cape Yakataga or just west of Yakutat in across the Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak Island, and the Aleutian Range of the Kilbrook Mountains, possibly over here to the north, and more extensive moderate chop there for AKwx and Atka with the southeast winds. And after the break, I'll be back to look at the ice edge and marine forecasts.
Welcome back to another edition of Alaska Weather Facts. I'm meteorologist Dave Snider, and joining me once again is Cindy Preller. She is the Tsunami Program Manager for the National Weather Service in Alaska region. Thanks for joining us again, Cindy.
Thank you, Dave.
We're talking about tsunami awareness and safety here in Alaska especially, and one of the things that has been one of your main focuses is the Tsunami Ready program. What is that, and how do Alaskans find out more?
Awesome. Yeah, Tsunami Ready is a National Weather Service hosted program in partnership with Storm Ready.
Okay.
And it is a program that we conduct with our partners in the state, but it's mostly community driven. So if a community wants to become tsunami ready, well, the first thing they need to do is get a hold of me or their local WCM at a weather forecast office or their tsunami team at the state level.
So, and this is something that's a NOAA grant, so there's money available to help encourage the preparedness at the local level there in the city or the village.
Yeah.
What are some of the places that have done this already?
Oh, our oldest tsunami ready city is Seward,
Good.
you know, but also Sitka, Homer, Valdez are the, you know, the main players, but we've got several tsunami ready communities that I'm very proud of. It takes several years to accomplish this. And so a few of the things that they do is The tsunami risk will be assessed by someone like me or another scientist will help find out, really what their probability is. We'll create an inundation map, an evacuation map. They'll have a mitigation plan. We will set up some partnerships with the schools, make an evacuation shelter, and then they need to practice. But it is the city that owns the program, really. It's up to them. And many cities would like to have sirens, and so we help them get those. And, and they practice. They have to practice.
Sure. So let's say I'm driving into a place like Seward that's tsunami ready. What are some of the things I should look for as maybe a visitor so I know maybe where I need to go or can be more aware of my tsunami risk?
Absolutely. The tsunami ready signage is really blatant. It's this, blue and white curling wave sign, and there's different shapes of signs that'll show you if you are in the hazard zone or where the evacuation routes are and when you're out of shelter.
Okay. So this is a multi-step process that helps the residents be more aware of their own risk, but then also prepare for when that risk arrives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, many communities sound their sirens daily. Some sound them weekly, to make sure everybody knows what they mean. And there's often drills. We have an annual drill once a year. We have Tsunami Awareness Preparedness Week, and that's a good time for each community to do some exercising.
Okay. And is this a program that is unique to Alaska?
Absolutely not. It's national.
Okay.
And all over the country, you'll have the same signage, so it's consistent.
Good. So if I'm taking the kids to California, I should be able to see something familiar.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And, some communities hesitate because they think it'll discourage tourism. And so I would like to tell those communities that what they're actually doing is they're encouraging responsibility.
Sure.
The tsunami's going to happen.
Right.
And it's going to hit every coastline. So, it's not about when. It'll be any time. So the fact that they're showing tourists that they are making steps to be prepared for this, I think would encourage people to want to stay there.
Right, and that would be no different than, say, you or I visiting the Midwest where we know there's going to be really bad thunderstorms and maybe there's a risk for tornadoes. We're aware of that risk when we go there.
Absolutely. If I see a sign for a tornado shelter, I'm going to remember that.
Right, okay, all right. So we're just doing a better job of being more prepared with something that's bound to happen again.
I hope so.
Okay. Very good. Where can people go again to learn more about the Tsunami Ready program here in Alaska?
Well, there is a Tsunami Ready website, so just Tsunami Ready,
Google
and that'll
Tsunami
get you
Ready.
there.
Okay.
And then probably the best person for people to contact is their warning coordination meteorologist at their local weather forecast office, which is Anchorage or Juneau, most likely.
Okay, all right. So most of the folks along the Bering Sea coast, again, are not at a huge risk for tsunamis at this
No,
point.
they don't need to worry about it.
Okay,
Thank
very
you.
good. But always learning to be prepared no matter where you are in Alaska, no matter what the risk, always a good step. And tsunami is a major player in that, as we well know from events like 1964. Okay.
Alaskans are resilient. I really believe in them.
Very good, very good. Well, Cindy, thank you so much for joining us again, and please make an effort to learn more about the Tsunami Ready program in your village and town if you haven't already. We'll be back with Cindy again next time to talk more about the Tsunami Warning Center in Palmer, Alaska. We actually have a group of geologists working for the National Weather Service, so scratch your head on that one and we'll join you next time. I'll see you next time on Alaska Weather Packs.
Welcome back. Looking at the sea ice analysis, gone now. There around St. Matthew Island, what was there? Norton Sound, hardly anything left, but still some heavier ice up there in Norton Bay. And then breaking up, sea ice free now north of the Bering Strait and through here, and that whole slice up to the north and northeast, continuing to diminish in sea ice concentrations. And for the southeast coast tomorrow, light north to northwest winds, either 10 to 15 knots. Turning south 15 on the north coast, south 20 in the afternoon, northern Lynn Canal, otherwise northwest 15. Outlook for Sunday, light winds continue, switching direction from the south to easterly, up to 15 knots on the north coast. A little lighter for Lynn Canal in the afternoon on the north end there, and variable winds 10 to 15 or 5 to 15 across the central and southern inside waters. Prince William Sound small craft advisories tomorrow with gales out along the coast here. 35 knots from the southeast turning east, dropping back to 20, and then up to small craft advisories again for Kachemak Bay. Northeast 20, Shelikof Strait and Cook Inlet. Sunday, Small craft advisories now for all of Cook Inlet, 25-knot east-northeast winds, swinging around to the southeast up to 30 knots, so pretty stiff breeze there for Kachemak Bay, falling back to 15 for Shelikof Strait, and still carrying gales here for the North Gulf Coast out of the southeast. For Bristol Bay, east 25, southeast 25 from Castle Cape to Sitkinak, lighter, more north-northwest on to the back to the west there for the peninsula. Those turn northeast 15 for the Alaska Peninsula on Sunday. Light variable winds, Castle Cape to Sitkinak, light north breeze for Bristol Bay. The Aleutians, Fox Islands, kind of east-northeast are variable, just 10 to 15 knots, but small craft advisories here for the central Aleutians, 25 to 30, all the way out to Shimei where it becomes more southerly. Then they'll swing around to the north there, again that trough axis right through here. Everything east, 20 to 25 knots, right across Unalaska Island. And for the southwest coast, light variable winds, 10 knots there with pretty slight seas, just 3 to 4 feet. Same pattern, light variable winds to the Bering Sea, southeast 10, St. Lawrence Island. And for Sunday, not a lot different there, maybe a little more easterly, picking up to only 15 knots for the Pribilofs, and 15 knots here along the coast up to St. Lawrence Island, but seeing variable for St. Matthew Island. Arctic coast tomorrow, central, west side, south 15, light southeasterlies there down to the Bering Strait, east-southeast 10 to 15 for the east side. And then for Sunday, 20 to 25 knots out of the east, only 15 on the west side, turning northeast to north, but only 10 knots. For tonight, again, moisture on the increase, south to north here, rain periods of Kodiak Island, a little bit of increase in the winds, spreading northward, which will increase tomorrow, especially Resurrection Bay, Seward, up into Prince William Sound, heaviest on the west side. Dry slot there, Cook Inlet, showers anywhere out over the west. And then for Sunday, still this front here, gales in advance of that, periods of rain more widespread south central Alaska, possibly heavy at times south coast of the Kenai Peninsula, fair over the Panhandle. And that's a look at the weather.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.